I hope. Ooh, I didn't plug in directly. Um, I hope y'all are having a great day. I am so excited to be back in the studio. It feels like it's been forever since I've been here. School's underway and studio's underway. I've got lots of new events going on. Just excited to be here. I've been working on my Memphis piece and I'm going to start another one. So I just thought I'd pop on here um, and get to painting. Just make sure you say hey so I know who's out there. I'm about to start painting a new 901 piece. I'm going to do the background today. I'm real excited. It's going to be a real pretty background, um, kind of sunsetty. We'll see. We'll see if I'm able to start to put a couple of the patterns and stuff in. It's a photo I took back in April, so before it got insanely hot. Also, it rained today, but why didn't it make it colder? Like, then isn't it supposed to like bring cooler weather with that? I'm gonna try and do a little bit of the stuff I have going on over here in this. It's gonna have the bridge in it. I love the bridge. This is the first time in a long time I've painted the bridge. So uh, I'm hoping that I'm gonna like the background. I kind of got an idea for what I want to do. So we'll see. I thought I'd take you along for the ride. So let's go. I love blues together. It's been a while since I've painted as much blue as I think I'm going to have in this one. We'll see. We'll see. It's been my comfort zone, but I don't want to just rely on it. I need it to be lighter. I need it to be lighter than this. As I've been exploring patterns over the last few years, I've kind of discovered, gone a lot on the journey of playing with pattern. Um, I love painting with it, have for a long time, but getting it to where I feel like the painting isn't way too busy is the thing I've been kind of struggling with. I hope I need a mic. I need a mic. I'm talking the wrong way. I'm painting the Memphis scene tonight. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to add a bunch of pattern for my backgrounds, kind of like I have on this guy over here. We'll see how it goes. I kind of got to work a little fast so I can get the background down. Oh, Leisha, it's been forever since I've seen you. I hope you and your family are doing great. Love you. It's been 1.5 years. So I love you. It's so good to see you. So I'm working on adding a lot of pattern to this. Now, the one thing I've kind of been obsessed with over, I think it's been about a decade. Oh gosh, it has been a million, hasn't it? But I love following you and seeing the cool designs and stuff you're working on. The thing I've kind of been working through as I've been obsessed with collecting pattern, because that's kind of what I do. Everywhere I go, I've always kind of collected patterns. I'm obsessed with them in nature, in architecture, in clothing, in all kinds of places. I love pattern. And everywhere I go, I'm always looking at the patterns. If you follow me at all on Pinterest, I have lots of boards dedicated to me just collecting patterns. And in every single sketchbook I have patterns as the focus, or somewhere in it is a pattern that I've obsessed over or seen somewhere, and I end up somehow bringing it into my paintings. So that's where I get ideas from. I collect them on Pinterest. I collect them everywhere I go. Outfits I wear, ancient civilizations, things like that. So that's where I'm always collecting the patterns I obsess over. I get that question a whole lot, of where I find my patterns. But the idea of bringing them into my work and doing that part well is kind of what I've been obsessed with over, I'd say, the better part of a decade. You wouldn't know it by looking at my work now, but the work that I used to do. Oh, Ainsley, I'm so glad to have you back at work. I'm so glad to see you again. I've missed you so much. But thank you for the kind compliment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's so many things that I wish that I could do like you. You're incredible, really building networking socially way, way, way better than I am. But if you knew me in college and after, I haven't always painted like this. You'd actually be really surprised to see the difference of what my work used to be when I was in undergrad and even grad school, like what my work looked like then and what it does now is nowhere close to that. It's just, it's super different. It's taken me a while to kind of figure out how to work my patterns into my work. And I'm still trying to figure that out. I kind of fail forward, I feel like I keep trying. And if you've come to my painting classes, you've heard me say this, that you can always paint over it. So I kind of take that approach. The cool thing about this is inevitably when I screw something up, and I'll definitely mess up, is that I can paint over it. When it dries and I screw up, I will be able to fix it by painting over it. So where I used to be is very tight and controlled. You're too sweet. I was really tight and controlled. So if you actually look way up on the wall, that is probably the closest thing that I have to the way that I used to paint when I was in high school and college and grad school. It's my natural instinct is to paint really tight, and I mean, photoreal has never been what I do or what I could, like what I gravitate towards. But tight and controlled and real painterly, with lots of brush strokes, but clearly representational of the thing I'm painting. But I used to obsess about patterns in just my note taking. So if you look at my sketchbooks from way back then, that's when you see the start of where I think this all came from. I would take notes in art history classes or in my visual arts classes, like in demos and all of in demonstrations when people in art, when the professor would show us a new technique or teach something, I would be doodling off in the corner. And it took me so long to figure out, well, what if I added all of those doodles and drawings to my actual paintings? Hey, Ainsley, I don't sell my work at festivals, but I do online. And when people request like pieces, like my original works and stuff, I'll let them know how much they cost. What I'm trying to do now is I'm researching companies to sell prints of my pieces so I can have the originals to sell, but then also turn these into print so that I can continue to sell them. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's a good question, Ainsley. But no, I don't go to festivals. I sell them out of the shop and through our site. So whenever people have asked me about them, that is where I go to sell. So one of the first mistakes I made is I was starting to add my patterns to my paintings. Thanks, babe. One of the things I like, my first giant mistake, and if you're an artist, this will be easy for me to explain. And for those of you that don't know artists' words or don't think like this, I'm really sorry. I'm going to try to muddle my way through explaining this. But I applied the rules to drawing to and how you see space relationships to my patterns. What does that mean? So when you're seeing something in real life, the further, like, your head tells you, and clearly it's true, that the further away it is, the smaller it looks, and the closer it is, the bigger it is. And so what I started doing when I started adding my patterns to my paintings was that I would put my smallest patterns and most detailed patterns furthest away in the distance, so in the background. And then I would try to make larger patterns in the foreground. And that ended up being a terrible idea, and really made my work really complicated and overly patterned, and you really couldn't tell the difference. It really shortened my paintings to where they felt like there was no what's called depth of field. So the paintings would feel really shallow, not lots of depth. And what I've slowly started to figure out is that I've got to oversimplify the background and put my bigger patterns back there. So my bigger patterns there. And then for the foreground, the stuff that's closest to you, really get in, even though sometimes those pieces are bigger and they're closer to you, really putting the tiniest little patterns there. So it makes sense in my head now, but kind of figuring my way out through it, it took me what I feel was a long time trying to like muddle through a lot of different, what I feel are like mediocre paintings, to figure out that little trick. And I like those pieces as I was trying to figure it out. I do like them, but I wish I could have figured those things out sooner. I tend to end up applying a lot of life lessons and learning opportunities to the idea of painting or how I paint. I feel like I learn a lot through it, and it feel a little bit like Yoda saying things like, not being afraid to like make mistakes and go out there and make mistakes. And I feel like I'm bolder in that sort of easy peasy way of thinking, because I know people will come to my shop and they'll paint with me and they'll be like, you make it look so easy. And I'm like, well, thank you. I don't mean to, but I have like this confidence in it, because like in the back of my head, I know it's okay if I screw it up, because I can just paint over it and fix it. And I think sometimes in life, I wish I would apply some of the things I know about painting to life. And then it makes me laugh at myself. I'm like, yeah, you're creating these like Hallmark card things based on your paintings. That's funny. I'm just rambling. I am proud of myself. I don't feel like my voice right now sounds like Bob Ross. I think I have a tendency to do that when I paint. Is have a really calm voice, which is funny. Oh, I like that. I'm training. Thanks, Alicia. I've got to make sure that I don't get too detailed here, because I got to remember what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up putting secret, spoiler alert, this is going to be a painting of the Memphis Bridge. You're funny. And I got to make sure that I don't put too much pattern, like tiny detail stuff, where the bridge is going to pop through. It's going to fade in the yellows and oranges in here. I wonder if maybe I need paper towel. Don't go anywhere. So this is kind of how I add pattern. I add it kind of big and fat at first, and I try to hold my brushes kind of further away. Let's see if I can start kind of ombreing this Joker, blending it into some fiery colors, but not make it be green. Don't want it to be green. Got to turn blue kind of fairly quickly into yellow orange without making it look green. Let's make that happen. So if you're watching, I've added 2 brand new different kinds of classes to the studio for the next year, and they're on the calendar through, I think, at least to the summer. I've added a class that's called Teachers Only. It makes me think of my members only jacket. And I Googled them. I didn't know. I'm such a loser, I guess. I didn't know that they were still around. Did you know that members only was still around? That's still a thing. That's awesome. But I got what color was your members only jacket? Mine was white. I need to go see if I still have it. But I have a class that'll meet twice a month for teachers only to come do projects. I hope you'll join me. And then for those of you that aren't teachers, I've added a new class called, what did I call it? Open Studio. Why did I forget that? Because I'm trying, I feel like what I'm doing is like what a drummer does right now. It's like I'm patting my head and rubbing my tummy. I'm talking and trying to think and have a conversation with you guys, but also I am painting and trying not to do a cruddy job at that. If you're just joining me, this is going to end up being a Memphis painting, a 901 painting. I'm excited about it. Make sure to say hi if you're out there, so I know who's watching. And a little bit I may end up just focus on the paint so I don't like totally talk about it. I am painting fairly thick. I'm trying hard to do like this ombre-ish thing right now where I'm fading the blue down. Well, it's not really fading right now. I'm doing a wet on wet thing. But I think I'll end up trying to fade this a little bit more over here, kind of like it is over here, where I definitely don't want the yellow to be green, but I do want to, I don't want it to be like a harsh line that's over here. So I do have to make that better. One of the things that I'm terrible about forgetting is, maybe if I brought some water, I might do that. I'm terrible about forgetting about my edges and doing those at the end. I bring it up all the time in my classes. That's probably, honestly, guys, that's probably why I do it, because I'm so bad at forgetting it on my own. Forgive me if I miss you saying hi. If you're stopping by, feel free to say hi if you're around. I'll bring you on screen so I can, or at least your name, so I can see who's out there and saying hey to me. I've used a lot of my blue. I may need to go get some more. Piper! Hey, Bubba. Hope you're having a great day. You've never been around while I've painted, bub. I'm working on a Memphis painting now. It's going to end up being, thank you. I'm working on the bridge. It's going to be the bridge. It's not the bridge yet. It's going to be flying at us. I think it's going to be good. I'm feeling it. Now I'm working on the sky. Need to bring some more wet over here. I need to get some more blue. Let me go grab some blue. Oh, you're too kind to me, Joe. Now, see, that just felt weird coming out of my mouth. I only ever call you Piper. That feels more right. I used to paint in oils, then acrylics, and now, because of the shop, I've been painting for so long here using latex because of the classes that's a lot of how I'll work in paintings of my own now is actually using latex. And that's a completely different way to paint. Than using oil or acrylic. Make sure you're saying hey to me so I know who's there. I want to say hi to y'all. I don't know who's watching me, so I don't know who to say hi to. Have a good meal. Wonder what everybody's doing tonight. Switching it up and adding a new pattern. It is one of my favorite patterns. I love the plus sign. Latex is like it's somewhere in the middle. And it's real liquidy, but not like a craft paint liquidy. And it kind of feels like you're working with a medium a lot of the time, like that there's medium in it, and it blends very differently than acrylic when you're mixing it. But it dries and thickens up way faster than your average acrylic does. And I can work with it. Yeah, like Sherwin-Williams is one of my favorite places to get it because I can pay around $8. I'm sorry it's so dark. I need to bring a light here from home so y'all can see me better. But I can work with it longer than I can like an acrylic. Acrylic just like goes, if you're not using a medium with it, it feels like it goes straight to drying. And latex, I have a lot more wiggle room and a lot more move time, but it's not as quick to blend to get a color. It's a lot more like slow and muted, and like it's very different mixing process. So it's much more like, you know how different it is to mix watercolor to get colors that you want than it is to get acrylic. It's kind of like that comparison, how different it is to mix and work with, but the longevity of it, like I can work with it for several hours, and like it dries really fast here, but on my plate it is slow to dry and allows a lot more wiggle room and a lot more decision making and kind of meandering around, which I like better. So I can kind of visit with. My mother-in-law says she's visiting, like when you go shopping. She's visiting stuff. So it kind of works that way. So that's why I kind of like it a little bit better. But then sometimes the colors are more muted than, like, you can't work with real acidic colors with latex like you can with regular paints, like artist paints. So sometimes what I've gotten to where I'll do is that I'll paint in latex and then I'll come back and add acrylic on it after I'm done with the latex, or maybe I'll do acrylic markers. It's worth trying. I like my sample pots. So I'll go and get sample pots from Sherwin-Williams, and that's what I use here for the little sample quarts. I like the prices there better too. I need color on the page. Thank you, Cody. I love you. My words are going away. I've been doing a live for a little bit, so I'm working on a new piece. It's a Memphis piece. Eventually, the Memphis Bridge will be in here. I'm excited about that. Now I'm trying to add some nice kind of vague texture and pattern for the background. Just getting color on that, covering my page. Gonna have it go into a sunset. That's what I'm working on now. Love you back. Love you back. But I'm trying to add quickly. It's not going as quick as it usually does for my backgrounds because I'm slowing myself down because I'm talking to everybody. I usually don't do a lot of thinking. So while I'm getting the color on the background, for if it's going to be something like this. My Memphis piece that I have in the background over here, that Main Street, I think I slowly thought through some of those layers a little bit more. Right now, I want to get a good covering of paint over this whole thing. And I'm slowing myself down because I'm chitty chatting, which is good, I usually just I don't do lives all the time. I used to. I want to get in the habit of it again. Kind of showing behind the scenes of how I work. I need more yellow. Gonna get more yellow. There we go. Oops. So what's everybody doing? If I was home, I'd be doing homework, I think, with the girls. There we go. I need to fade this out because I'm going to put a little, I need a lot more white, I guess, in this part. I'm going to fade this to a muted gray green, I guess, for shadows. Maybe lower. We'll see. We'll see. Got to practice what I preach. Best thing about it, if I screw it up, I can paint right over it. Don't want to screw it up though. I have an idea for how awesome I want it to be. So let's start adding some grays down here. Step back and look at it for a minute. Oop, maybe y'all can't see the back anymore. Or the bottom. Here it goes. I don't want to add too much big fat detail. Here we go. But I do want to switch it up. Yeah, I think this will end up doing well. Got to think about my edges though. I'm terrible about thinking about my edges. Sometimes I don't think about those until I'm way closer to the end. So I'm making a cognizant effort to try and think about those way before I need to. Make sure you say, hey, I love to see you if you're out here. Do, 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 do. This will end up being the bridge. That's what's going to happen. I need to wipe off some of this. I don't like that color that's coming out. don't like that much phthalo blue. There's like this one tone of blue that I don't really like at all. It's like I have this visceral reaction to it whenever I see it. Can't stand it. So I got to make sure I don't have that tone of blue. Even though I love blue, there's this one that just I don't like seeing. Can't describe why. Be more correct. You can start adding other patterns over here too. With a smaller brush and maybe add some others. Gotta make sure I'm not getting super detailed with my background. I do like my plus signs. They're one of my favorite things. Hope y'all are doing well. Need fresh water. But this is a good spot to be in. I kind of like where it is a little bit. There's a couple of spots I'm going to work on. But been here for about an hour with y'all. I hope you have a great night, and I'll have more to come soon.